Hello everyone. Last month I was able to visit Dublin for a weekend. It was my first time in Ireland and I really enjoyed it. I know it's not enough time to really do everything that the city offers, but in my opinion, it was enough for me to get an impression of the highlights at least. Dublin is a small city compared to other European capitals. You can even notice it by the way you can get around just by walking. It is a very walkable city. I feel like once you're in the city center, everything is within 20 minutes. You don't need a car, you don't need a taxi. You can move around with a bus if you want, but I would really recommend just walking because you see a lot more of the city and it's much more convenient and it's cheaper. This is a piece of information that you can find in a ton of videos of Dublin. The best way, in my opinion, to get from the airport into the city is either with a taxi or an Uber. It's faster, but it is more expensive. There is a bus and it is more affordable, but it also takes a little bit more time. So if you're in a budget, then the bus is your best option. There is no train connection from the airport into the city. The first destination on my list was St. Patrick's Cathedral. The entrance fee is around €11, I think. And there is another option to include a visit to a library that's right next to it, and it is totally worth it. You should go for that. It's kind of like a hidden gem. I'm not really sure if I would call it like that because it's right next to the cathedral, but it is true that it is a bit less visited than the cathedral itself. Both of these places are very peaceful, they're very beautiful, and I believe it's a really good start to the trip. Once you arrive from the airport, entering a cathedral like this is, I don't know, there is something really calming about it. Once you exit the cathedral, the library will be to the left. The library is so old that I thought that you couldn't really interact with the books, but apparently, if you want to study something specific, or if you have a legitimate reason, you can speak to the staff there. You can reserve one of the books and you can study them there. As you can see, there is barely anyone in there, and it has this really nice, calm feeling. One of the few noises you can hear is the ticking of an old clock. One of the staff pointed out a couple of books that had some bullet holes, um, which honestly, if you're not paying attention to that, you don't really see them until someone points them out. Once you exit the library, you'll go through this really beautiful little inner garden where you can sit down and think about an interesting fact, and that's that Bram Stoker, the author of Dracula, used to work and study in this place, which makes it even more special. A piece of advice: bring an umbrella and a jacket that's waterproof because it rains a lot. And the weather in March can be very unpredictable. When I exited the library, it was sunny, and 2 minutes later, it started raining a lot. It was just a quick shower, but it still gets you wet. So be prepared and have something like that in your luggage. The last location I visited that day was the Guinness Museum. It is an interesting experience for sure. If you're in a budget, I would skip it. It is very expensive. But if you're a big fan of Guinness, then I would absolutely include it in your visit to Dublin. You do get to learn a little bit about the company and the brewing process. And at the end, you get this amazing view, 360 view of Dublin from the rooftop bar with a Guinness that comes included in your ticket. I would really recommend booking this in advance and making sure that you have enough time in your schedule for the whole experience. There's a ton of stuff to do in the museum, but my personal highlight was the view that you get from the bar. You can see all of Dublin, and if you're lucky with the weather, you'll see the mountains in the distance while enjoying a pint of Guinness. To end the day, I went to a pub and had some fish and chips. It was really tasty, but it was a little bit expensive, so that's just something to bear in mind. I will be posting 2 more videos about Dublin, representing the other 2 days that I was there. And if you like this type of content, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe.